What's going on? Stand Up Steve here in the lovely Malibu. And we got America's Most Wanted information. Let's go. Today I am with...
Jess from Soundcloud.
Oh, Jess, let them know what you do.
I work at Soundcloud. I handle all of the indie labels and distributors on the platform.
Okay, Jess, a lot of things people are doing is like a lot of artists coming up, new artists.
Yes.
And there's a lot of ways that they're able to make income and they're not. What are the things that you're seeing at SoundCloud when it comes to these artists?
I think the biggest thing is monetization.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not monetize, you're just giving away all of your content for free. And why would you do that? Like, there's so many ways that have been created now for artists and people that are just starting at home, bedroom creators, people that are just starting to really find a monetization program. You know, SoundCloud has one. Mm-hmm. We have one. We have a distribution called Repost by SoundCloud. But there's a ton of distribution platforms that you can use to get your to get your music out there and make some money on it.
Okay, definitely. Awesome. And what do you think is probably like an important thing outside of just getting it out there? What is something that you look for in an artist when you are looking for artists?
The hustle. I mean, you have to have a plan, so I say, like, come up with a content plan, come up with, do you want to pause?
Helicopter.
But yeah, like, come up with a plan where, you're putting content out, whether it's weekly or monthly, or pick a day, whether it's on SoundCloud or Instagram, or, doing that. You have to be literally every day, every week, dropping something for your fans, getting your name out there. I think that's the most important. And the hustle. You have to have the hustle. All
right, so you say SoundCloud hustling with merchandise. Anything else you recommend?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think you need different, various streams of revenue.
Okay.
So, I mean, right now, obviously, because of COVID and Corona, live performance is that's been a big cut for a lot of performers. So definitely your merchandising, definitely selling, exclusive pieces of merch, whether it's, selling your vinyl or things like that. Like, it's just so important.
Definitely. I definitely understand and agree with that. All right. So you just recently came to the West Coast. I know Jess personally, but some of this. What do you see as far as the differences when it comes to the artists and their hustle from East to West Coast?
That's such a good question. I don't know. I wouldn't say there's a difference in the hustle. I think it's all about your community and where your community lives, and you need to rely on that. So you can hustle just as well now out of Chicago, out of, Atlanta. Like, it's about your community and really kind of figuring out, again, your platform and getting your fans engaged. Those are the things I tell you. Like, I tell all of my artists that come through, your fans have to be engaged,
That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So what would you say to an artist that is about to get on SoundCloud, or like, have you seen any cases where people have just blown up, like just randomly or just fast? Like, is there any specific case that stands out in your mind?
I mean, that does happen, but not as often as it used to. I think back in the day when SoundCloud kind of first started, it was a lot easier to blow up much faster or a little bit quicker. But right now, blowing up on SoundCloud includes a lot of different things. Okay. You're not just blowing up on SoundCloud. You also have your Instagram going. You also need to have YouTube and content going. Like, you don't need a label to do that work for you. But you do need a fan base that rocks with you. Right. That is probably the most important. And that's the one thing I think that, like, using SoundCloud and YouTube is connecting directly with those fans. On both of those platforms, you can message them back. You can comment, when your fans comment. Like, all of those engagement tools are so incredibly important, for you to grow and for your artist to grow with you.
All right. So as far as what do you say to the artists that are out there that are questioning whether or not there is money to be made by people consuming content? Do you think that's a realistic thing for these people? Like, are people going to really get my stuff? Are people really consuming content? Like, what do you have to say to them?
I have to say, yes, they are, but it doesn't matter. If you're putting stuff out, don't always put it out for free, especially with music. It's so easy to monetize that content that you need to do it, even if you're only making a couple $100s from it a month. That's a couple $100s that you're just giving away for free, but you don't need to do. And that's, I think music has changed in the last couple years. And that's one thing that, like, SoundCloud, I think, has really shifted the music industry too, is making sure that these, young artists that are coming up or young creators that are just starting have the ability to make money from this. I've met so many kids' lives who have been changed just from one platform, just from monetizing their songs that they put out on SoundCloud, that they've gotten out of the house, that they can pay their own bills, that they don't have a side hustle. Like, you can do it. And it doesn't have to be big, but you do need a fan base. And that is something you have to, invest in. That's your investment piece. And it's your investment is you make a couple $100s on SoundCloud, you flip that around and put that back into the studio, or put that back into making another piece of video content for, you know, the web, YouTube, your Instagram, all of that.
All right. So bottom line, there's money to be made, just saying.
Oh, of course there's money to be made, but you have to know, you have to be wise enough to know how to do it. So when I say monetization, my suggestion is if you don't know what that word means, you need to look up what that means.
Search.
Use Google. I have so many artists that come through and I'll check their SoundCloud page and I'm like, dude, you've had music up for 5 years and you haven't gotten paid on one single stream. Why would you do that? You know, so a quick Google search, and now at this point, there's so many distributors that you can sign up for, you know, even pay $1.99 a month, and you'll be able to get monetization and be able to monetize your content. So that is, I think, you know, the most important thing. Why would you just let everyone have it for free? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100. Nothing should be for free.
No,
especially not that. Last question I wanted to know is, since COVID hit, have you seen an influx in artists? That is like, is everybody a rapper now?
Everyone's a rapper. Everyone has a home studio. And if they're not a rapper, they want to be a podcaster. So as I tell a lot of people, we are not, you know, like, especially with SoundCloud, because anyone can upload. I mean, we've seen increase of about 30,000 songs a week dropping since COVID. So when you are asking, like, how do you break through that clutter? That is your fan base. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of music dropping now more than ever, and artists are dropping content. You know, again, you're coming back to that cadence. People are sitting at home, they're making, you know, content in their home studio, and then the next day you can just put it up, and that's something, you know. But again, monetize your shit. You have to. I can't say that enough, and it's my number one piece of advice. Plus, the other thing about monetization is, you know, there are laws and rules that, you know, YouTube, SoundCloud, you know, Spotify, like, your stuff can't be promoted when you say, how do I get added to that playlist? If you're not monetizing, being added to a playlist isn't even an option, because there's laws against that. So, because we have to make sure that there's actual claim and rights to that music. So that's a really important piece to know too. You know, you can't just say, I put out a track, add me to a playlist. You have to have some of the back end things. You know, there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of people that are giving incredible advice. There's this woman named Wendy Day who does Rap Coalition. She does amazing advice for artists that are starting. SoundCloud, we have a blog where we have people on, you know, weekly giving you advice. We're going to start a show on Twitch soon, all about, you know, being a new artist and what you need to be successful. So yeah, content is king. You need a lot of it, but you need to make money off of it too.
Bottom line, people are buying content. So if you have content available or content in your head, create it and get paid. Why, Jess?
Because you're dumb not to. Make that penny. Make that penny on that stream. It's so important. There's a lot of companies out there that will do it for you, so just do your research.
All right, you heard her. She knows best. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, Jess.
Thank you. Thank you.